Hey everybody. Hey everyone, Kyle here. I am here to bring you another slightly educational video. My matches today haven't been very exciting. I did like 6, and they were all pretty one-sided, either for me or the opponent. So there wasn't one in particular that stood out, but I thought this match against JKP would be a good one to talk about some points. So let me go ahead and start the battle. Alright, so I saw that I actually didn't realize that he had a Trick Room team, though I probably should have by looking at it. So I wasn't prepared for it. I did know he was going to lead off Whimsicott, and I've had these mess me up so many times in the past that I just wanted to make sure that I got rid of it turn 1. Now the Whimsicotts I've run into have been Focus Sash. This one actually turns out to not be, but this isn't really the point of the match. So this talks to me about analyzing the situation. Now, I immediately Mega Evolved went for Drought because I realized that instead of switching up my Pokemon, that even though the Slowbro was I figured it'd probably go for a Water attack. In Drought, plus, in Drought, not only, even though he's resistant to my Fire attacks, will he still be taking a lot of damage, but at the very same time, if he did go for a Scald, it shouldn't be able to fate either of my Pokemon in one hit. It should require at least a two hit KO on either of them. So that's one thing you gotta think about definitely, is analyzing, before... You definitely want to make sure that you take every single thing into account before you do a turn. Instead of just panicking and going, oh crap, he went Water Start, I gotta switch out, go ahead and stay in. Because the Drought is going to help you with that. So that's one example of using stuff to your advantage. Now, even though the Sunlight was out, I figured I'd go into Rotom. Hydro Pump won't be doing that much damage, but at the same time, neither will his Slowbro. And so I figured Goodra also a good one to go into because I got the Flamethrower that's being boosted, and I can still Volt Switch. Now, I switched my Charizard in to Rotom because I figured if he's going to Scald anything, it's going to be Charizard first because that's the most threatening thing on his team. He's probably expecting a Solar Beam, I would imagine. So I switched into Rotom to take that Scald, knowing it wouldn't be that bad, and I could rest off a burn if I got it. Goodra's poisoned, which is obviously going to suck, but again, this is not a battle analysis, so I need to stop acting like it is. So now that I saw that he was trying to boost, I realized that Slowbro is probably the most threatening thing on his team, and judging by how Spiritomb was toxic, oh, sorry guys, just had a crazy video freeze there. I figured it was probably like a Pain Split, wall style Spiritomb. I don't kill Slowbro here, which is very unfortunate, but I know he's pretty much dead next turn. I don't think he can one-shot me. My Goodra, that is, by the way, so I go ahead and pull out Typhlosion. Typhlosion's not even hurt yet. I want to see how much damage a Shadow Claw does on this. But see, I'm actively switching, so I know that now that he's used the Water move on Rotom, he probably won't go for Scald on it again, unless he's hoping, because he already had the burn. But this was the problem. I should have saw that since he had Toxic on both things already, that he was... You see, I don't know. I kind of figured he was going to go for something more impressive than a Scald, especially since he did Calm Mind. I didn't think he was going to go for one, so I switched Rotom out into Typhlosion, thinking that he might do something else. Sadly, he didn't, but it works out. The Shadow Claw's going to do very much damage to this, so then I realized that Spiritomb is obviously way too bulky for even a special or super effective move to hit to do too much damage. But at this point, he's pretty much lost the match. So Mawile comes out. Now, Mawile's weak against fire, obviously, but I believe Trick Room is still up. So I know that Goodra can go down to 1 Play Rough from a Mawile, guaranteed. But I know that Typhlosion and Charizard can destroy Mawile once Trick Room's down. There's no way she can make it. She can survive a turn with them. So I throw out Rotom, and now I'm going to try to ride out the rest of the Trick Room. Because I don't even need Drought anymore, honestly. I'm sort of protecting Spiritomb, which is fine with me. He's actually going to play Rough Rotom, which I did not expect. He might not know that he can one-shot Goodras with that. Flamethrower is not going to kill, but again, Sunlight fades. There we go. So it's all about playing with your environment, making sure that the moves and the moves you make and the choices you make are all relevant to the situation. Eventually turn to normal. He goes for the Sucker Punch though, which will take down Gudra, sadly. But, sorry. Shadow Sneak comes out, and so now this is actually was kind of scary though, coming from a battle analysis point. But luckily, he is definitely extremely bulky, not very strong. Volt Switch for guaranteed damage on Mawile. Mawile goes down, and now I mean that's pretty much game. But long story short, this is just a quick example to show you. Now, if you noticed, my opponent didn't actively switch. If I was him, you know, I would have switched into Mawile a while ago. When I realized that the sun was up, my Slowbro wasn't doing very much, I would have switched something into Spiritomb to take a hit for them. Spiritombs, obviously Spiritomb's, you know, very bulky, can take the damage. And then I definitely would have brought Mawile in, like when Gudra and when Trick Room was up, and then Gudra and Rotom were out, he could have switched into Mawile easily, because I didn't have either of my possibilities to do fire attack. I wasn't going to Will-O-Wisp anything, because he didn't have any physical attackers out there. Mawile could have switched in right off the bat, but he didn't switch it. And so this is one of the things, you know, you got to make sure you're looking at everything on the field. You got to make sure you're looking at your team, and you got to make sure that you know that the ideas that you think he has in the back, or your opponent has in the back, you want to make sure you're thinking about all of that stuff. If he had switched in Mawile, say he had predicted, right, once Whimsicott went down, I had no reason to keep in Typhlosion and Charizard. Now, he didn't know I'd switch out Charizard, so the Scald onto that made sense. But Typhlosion was choice banned. I don't know if... would he have known that, actually? I don't think he would have, huh? Okay, well, maybe it would have been a hard prediction for him. I don't know what else Typhlosion's run, other than Choice... Or, sorry, other than Choice Scarf. So maybe he didn't know. Maybe he didn't have enough info to make a switch, now that I think about it, but... Definitely always be looking for switch possibilities. I like to play very switch intense. I play with lots of attacking moves and one kind of defensive move on every Pokemon. But I don't play with I don't have a lot of stat moves. Instead, I rely on switching. I use the switch mind games to help me get the upper hand. You know, double, sometimes triple switching in some situations, because it can really throw your opponent off and make them unsure about the moves they're going to make. And if your opponent's unsure about the choices they're making, then that's good for you. Obviously. So yeah, guys, just make sure that every single time you take a turn in a battle, whether it's singles or doubles or triples or rotation or whatever, make sure that every turn you account for every possibility, and figure out which one's the most likely, and then try to figure out if the game has been going on long enough and you have a good idea of your opponent's skill level. You know, think about what are the chances that he will switch out or he'll predict you to do this or that, etc. Again, this is probably all very common knowledge, but as I said, it's my channel. I am trying to help beginners. I know I reiterate that a lot, but I want to make sure I say it, you know, for at least the first few info videos, so that people realize, you know, so if new people coming to see the channel don't go, why is he saying this really basic stuff? But yes, you always want to take everything into account. Pokemon's possible abilities, if you haven't already seen them, or, you know, if you have, still take those into account. Possible move sets, even the ones that aren't common, right? Like my Focus Blast on Charizard. I don't necessarily know if that's common or not. I haven't fought too many Charizard-wise. I haven't seen any other ones that run Focus Blast. But at the same time, you know, it is a possible move, and people should be aware of that. If you throw out something that counters my Charizard, like, say you throw out a rock Pokemon. I do a Solar Beam, but maybe that's a bad example. You throw out something that's ice, that's like water ice. And you're like, well, I know I can live a Solar Beam. That's still a bad example. I'm trying to think of an example of something that, well, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry, guys. I got an itch. I need to move the camera. Sorry, guys. Sorry about all that camera movement. Basically, long story short, it's like you gotta, if someone stays in on a Pokemon that counters them, you need to think to yourself, okay, well, what possible moves could it have? Like, why would it stay in? Does it have a way to counter its own weakness? You know, you throw a fairy at Gudra. Is Gudra going to stay in? Well, yeah, I guess Sludge Bomb. Gudra's probably going to stand against a fairy, because fairies... Gudra doesn't actually care about fairies. Fairies can kiss Gudra's butt, as far as Gudra's concerned. I'm saying, If Rotom switches into the sun, it's probably not going to go for a Hydro Pump. It's probably going to go for a Will-O-Wisp or a Volt Switch. So if he had saved Whimsicott after I went double fire opening, if he had switched Whimsicott out into Spirit Tomb right there, because since Spirit Tomb was more bulky, he could have had Whimsicott in the back, so when Rotom came in, he could have done a safe switch into Whimsicott. Because whether I went for Volt Switch, Hydro Pump, or Will-O-Wisp, all of those things would be doing almost nothing to Whimsicott. And you'd probably still have it around to do whatever Whimsicott shenanigans it was going to do. So guys, just, just don't feel rushed on your turns. Don't feel like you have to sit there and act fast because your opponent's waiting and there's a timer going down. I know I've repeated myself many times over, but you really need to assess the entire situation. Look at your opponent's, predicted remaining team. Look at your team, the health, check those little Pokeballs because they turn yellow if they have a status element, so you can see, like, okay, well, I do have that paralyzed. It'll, like, remind you, oh, that's right, I Thunder Wave that, or I Toxic that thing. Sorry, I'm just getting, I got a bug fly in my mouth. Ew. Because all the information is going to help you become a better player and move up in the ranked system, and even if you just play with your friends, you'll still obviously win matches from critical thinking and making sure that you use the timer to your full advantage. And by that, I don't mean, though it is something people do, I don't mean just sit there every turn, wait for the timer to almost run out before you do stuff, hoping that your opponent DCs out of frustration or something. But you have that much time for a reason. Feel free to use it to decide what you want to do. So, alright guys. It was just a quick kind of pep talk video. Again, as I said, none of my battles are really that exciting. I am doing some more breeding projects. I'm not sure what yet. I really want to breed a Pokemon that a lot of people say are bad, like Beedrill. Beedrill's one I've been thinking about, and then try to make it work in a team. But I don't know. I know I'll probably get at least one comment on this video. I don't realistically expect at this point in time to get more than one comment on the video. But if you are that beautiful individual who knows who he is, what do you think? Would you like to see me try to make a Beedrill work, or should I just keep switching up, other Pokemon? Because I'm always breeding a new project. It's just since I don't like to use Pokecheck or anything, it does take me a little while because I always do my breeding like legit. And plus it makes, I don't know, your Pokemon feel more close to you when you do that as well. But alright, you guys have a good day, and I will see you.